Welcome to Your Infinite Health. Are you getting older?
Are you feeling it?
How would you like to do that in reverse?
We're your host,
Dr. Tripp
and LeNae.
We've run an integrative medicine practice for 13 years.
Together, we have 60 years of combined experience helping clients.
We've helped tens of thousands achieve success in health and live longer, happier lives.
In this show, we'll cover peer-reviewed and evidence-based integrative approaches to creating the health you've always wanted.
We also share professional experience we see in the field every day.
So if you're ready to feel, look, and live your best life, you're in the right place.
Welcome to Your Infinite Health podcast.
Happy Friday, Tripp.
Oh, happy Friday.
Did you have a good week?
Yeah, I had a great week.
What'd you do this week?
Huh? Same old, same old.
Worked. Our youngest, Huck, got top 10 of the school spelling bee.
Wow.
And he gets...
That's the whole school, right?
He said it was the whole school, yeah.
Wow.
Top 10. And so he gets to go to the city level.
Competition?
Yeah, the city level competition. So this is the second year in a row he's made it to the city level. So fingers crossed he makes it to the next round. But it's stiff competition. And those judges, man, they're no joke. And if they have an accent and they don't pronounce the word properly, there were a couple of kids who misspelled because the judge had like a wonky accent.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem fair.
You know, that Cajun accent sometimes not all that helpful.
Oh, yeah. I have a joke.
A joke?
Yeah.
Okay.
What did the left lung say to the right lung?
I don't know.
We belong together.
Oh, how romantic.
How romantic. There's your February love joke. May your lungs be lung together. Anything else you want to chit chat about before I jump in here?
No. Yeah, let's talk about our guest.
Talk about the guest. We have a great guest. I'm pretty excited about this one, listeners. You're going to love him. You're going to learn some things. You're going to be like, I have got to check that out, because by the end of the interview, I was like, I'm going to have to check that out. For more than 20 years, Brett Baughman has cemented his place as an authority on personal development, advanced communications, and life and business coaching. He's out of Las Vegas. He and his team provide groundbreaking seminars, workshops, and one-on-one life transformational coaching. He's helped countless business and political leaders, Fortune 50, 100, and 500 executives, top athletes, superstar actors, and musicians. And now his mission is to ensure that everyone can benefit from the knowledge and resources he has gained over the years through action mastery. Brett's specialty is helping his clients to discover their passion in life so that they can begin to live with purpose and achieve fulfillment each day. He helps them to understand how they best operate and how to self-detect when they are making poor decisions or falling back into old, unwanted habits. He will then implement dramatically innovative techniques derived from his expertise in neuro-linguistic programming, aka NLP, timeline therapy, hypnosis, and his powerful coaching technique, The Ideal You, to transform the lives of his clients. Brett puts his life's mission into one simple statement: revolutionize the future. Welcome, Brett. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm glad that we were able to connect. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, LeNae. Really excited to chat with you today.
Yeah, so I kind of want to, if you don't mind, I kind of want to know what propelled you, compelled you, drove you to do what you're doing today. Like, where was that spark? What prompted that and inspired you? What created that drive in you to coach others?
I've been doing this for a long time now. It's been, 24 years this year. So there's been quite a few sparks. It's gotten down to some embers before, and they got flamed back up. Two main things have been like what's drive my passion, my interest for coaching. Number one, I do believe that it's my calling. I feel very blessed when I wake up each day. I can't believe I get to do this. I'm a very spiritual person. I believe God's put me on this path to be someone who guides people to their own healing and provides opportunities and courage for people to show up as their best self. So a big part of it's really been my spirituality. And with that, I was blessed. I have a wonderful family that my whole life has supported me, always been there, guiding me, telling me to try everything, give me a voice whenever something went on in life, when there was a tragedy or we'd lose someone or anything. They'd sit down and talk to me and really got me confident about communication, knowing it's okay to speak, to communicate, it's okay to make mistakes, and then learn from those mistakes together. And so that was a big driver of it. Beyond that, I really love exploring ways that we can advance ourselves as people, enhance our performance, go more the power of the mind. I've always been into psychology. I think the communication led into the interest and the curiosity about psychology, and just looking at why. I've always been interested in why a person does what they do. When I was younger, I was an actor. I did a lot of films and TV shows and soap operas and commercials and stuff. And I used to think I wanted to go that path because of entertainment. And I realized when I had this convergence in my early 20s, it's like, wow, I really have been doing all this because I really liked getting a role and dissecting this person. Because I couldn't be a coach. You're not a coach at 15 years old out coaching people. You don't do like therapy sessions. But somebody gives you a script and says, hey, here's this person who's going through this. Here's a Macbeth, or here's a this thing. And you look at it and go, wow, why is this person doing this? And it takes you through the journey of someone's life and their thought and the decisions that led them where they're going. And so my desire to understand why people do what they do, and then understanding how we could break through those barriers and remove the limitations, has really took me on this path. And then it's been a calling of using those skills and those desires to find ways to create more abundance and more peace of mind for people, so they can live a life that they're passionate about, but they're also fulfilled by. And that's really the driver behind everything I do. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter which door you come in or how you come to that door. I want to help you find passion in your life so you're inspired about your journey and you live each day fulfilled, getting up excited for what you're going to be focusing on.
Cool. That's really nice that you had a family that actually supported your voice. I don't think a lot of people, at least in my experience, had that growing up. Do try to give that to our children and everything. So I think that's awesome. So kudos to your family for empowering you in that way.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a real blessing. I always say, it's a great quote that says, talent is equally distributed, but opportunity is not. And that's so true. You can have the most talented people, they don't have the right resources, support, or care, and it's hard for them to go somewhere. I feel like I've been very blessed. So I do my best to give back all the time. I want to show up as my best. And I want to continue to give to others because I feel like I've just been so blessed in many ways.
Cool. So, okay. So business, you do business coaching, you do life coaching, you do relationship coaching, you do breathwork coaching. There's a lot going on there. How does that work? How are you doing all of it? And then you said you had events, you've got multiple events. That's a lot.
Events. Yeah, I do like morning meditations every Monday morning at 7 a.m. where I bring groups of people in and we do like a meditation, set intentions for the week. We do online breathwork journeys, breathwork events, transformational immersions we go to. The thing is, again, my focus is, number one, right now, I'm really in a place I'm very blessed to where I can kind of pick and choose my clients. So I find clients an ideal client to me is someone who is working on something I'm inspired by, but also that is going to be helping many. So it's one to many, not one to one. So I'll take on a client that's running a company or as a nonprofit or a service, something they're doing that's going to affect the world and make a dramatic impact. So if I help their company grow, it helps thousands of employees, which help thousands or tens of thousands of customers. So when I do that, number one, it keeps me with my integrity and my alignment of what my passion is making a bigger positive impact in the world. So with that, it starts to really work. It's like there's a lot of different things, but they harmonize. And the funny thing is, people will ask me, like, you're a relationship coach, you're a shaman, you're a breathwork coach, you're this guy. I go, look, it's all just titles. To me, at the end of the day, I'm just a person that's helping people on their journey. And so it's really where the person's coming from, what they call me as the title, right? Like people will say, I need a counselor. And I do the same thing as a counselor as I do as a business coach. I do the same thing as a life coach as a business coach. And so a lot of times people will come to me and say, I need a business coach. And I go, well, listen, here's the thing. We're going to do a whole life holistic approach. So we're not just going to work on your business, because if we work on your business, then all of a sudden your health is going to the garbage, right? Or your relationships are falling apart. And I'm like, so we have to do a whole approach. So with everybody, we work on career, relationships, health and fitness, personal growth, spirituality, and hobbies, like a whole map. And when you do, it makes sure that every decision you're making is harmonizing with the other one. It's refining it, and it's making sure there's momentum. So what I'm doing in my work is improving my health. My health is improving my relationships. And so then what happens is really, they're just kind of like a course that people come through. Some people come to me directly as an executive client and want to just start one-on-one. And then a lot of people are like, you know what? Hey, I'm going to show up at your online breathwork journey or your morning meditation. And that's free. And they're like, wow, I've never meditated before. It's the best I've felt in 5 years. I've never felt calm. And then they go, what else are you doing? And I'm like, well, why don't you come to our one day retreats, our one day event, and kind of get around a community of people and see what it's like to be in a group of people that are going through the same thing and experience a whole day of getting away from your phone and digital detoxing and doing breath work and body work like yoga and sound healing. We do some dancing and tribal stuff. Just really fun. You're like, wow, I healed and I grew in a group of people that actually care and hold me accountable. Then they're like, what's the next thing you're doing? And then they want to go to the full week-long retreat, or they become a one-on-one client. So they all really, it's kind of like it's a family of offerings that help people move through the journey and make sure that they stay engaged. Because the most important thing is, I'm doing this 24 years. I'll tell you, I didn't used to do this, but it's the engagement. It's the level of engagement. My clients, I've never had a person say to me, where were you? I tried to call and couldn't get you. Like, we do Monday strategy calls. We do all these free events. We have a coaching app. We're in contact all the time so that you're living a lifestyle and embodying that mindset. Otherwise, it's like, go to the gym and try to lose 20 pounds by going twice a month. You got to
Look at
change
that.
your life, right? Yeah.
I like that. It's like an integrative. You've got an integrative coaching approach. Yeah, because you
Inspires
can't.
me. It keeps me inspired. So I'm not doing the same thing all the time. Like, I love doing these things. So you catch me at my best because I'm making sure I'm doing things that I'm excited to do.
I think that's really important. Being able to create that partnership with you instead of being in that, unit, that cycle, I think, where a lot of service people are giving and giving and giving, and it's a one-way energy drain.
Yeah.
So I definitely support, the cycle of energy coming and going both ways. That's very important to us as well.
Yeah. The
Right.
thing about us, we do a partnership thing, and the patients who really get into that and get into that, not only the mind body component, but all of the rest of the integrative component, and they work, kind of collaboratively and work as a team, the outcomes are just really so much better.
Right.
Well, also,
Really
I'm sure your client is responsible. Like, they're taking an ownership interest in creating their best version of themselves as opposed to expecting you to fix them.
Exactly. And it's like I always say, one of my statements I use with my clients, I'm like, the solution to every problem you have is showing up as the best version of yourself. Because when you think with the right mindset, when you're patient, when you surrender, when you use all the things you would choose at your best to be, you make the best decision. But you're only going to do that through practice, right? It's through disciplines of doing the routines daily, showing up, doing the work you're working on, reading the books, just whatever the things are you need to do. And so what I try to do is flood people with so many opportunities that, yes, it can be overwhelming, but you pick and choose what you want. But it's a buffet of positive things you can do versus only one thing, and then you start to stray back into bad behaviors or habits or outlets that are not as healthy for you. And so keeping your mind busy in the work, I think, just fires up inspiration. So I always say that the solution to everybody's problems, to all your problems, is always showing up as the best version of yourself. And so, because when you do, you're going to be in your best mindset, right? You're going to be activating the parts of yourself that are best, the disciplines. You're going to be less emotional and more objective. So you're going to be making better decisions and on the path. I always joke and say, no one's ever like really angry and says, I'm so angry, let's go write a business plan, right? You'd never hire that version of yourself. So when you get better at realizing who you are at your peak and you can put yourself in that situation or get yourself back there, you're going to always have the best experience and the best results. And so with my process, what I try to do is positively overwhelm everyone with options, right? You don't have to do everything, but I've got stuff going on all the time. So it's like, whether it's an audiobook or a podcast I'm doing, or it's a morning meditation or a breathwork journey or an event, it's like, I want you to, there's no excuse. You have a resource all the time that you can reach out to for help, a person, a community, a thing you can use that will keep you in this mindset rather than going back to resources or addictions or bad behaviors that pull you off. The next thing you know, you're sliding back or you're struggling again.
So how do you get or engage ownership? I mean, people are generally motivated when they come in and when they start things, I find, and then after a certain period of time, they kind of go back into the old habits or the old behavior, so to speak, and they're excusing themselves for one or the other reason, and so they're not taking ownership and responsibility for their outcomes anymore. And how do you motivate to get out of that?
That's a great question. So, you know, number one, I'm extremely results oriented. So when we work together, we're measuring results week over week. So number one, we don't even go a month or something. Like we're checking in constantly. So if there's something that's off, if the person's not getting the results, if I'm not seeing the growth I need to see, we make adjustments immediately. So there's a lot of accountability every week. I engage with my clients 3 to 4 times a week through text, through phone, through messages, through a
Wow.
coaching app. So like there's so much engagement, you don't get off
Eye
track. I
contact.
found
That's great.
the longer you let somebody go, their production goes down. They forget, they don't follow up. So basically everybody's hearing from me or getting something every other day. That's a big one, the engagement level. The other thing is with my process, one of the first step of what we do is we discover your passions. And I have a lesson I've created where it helps people really get down to their unconscious drivers that makes them who they are, how they tick in a nuanced way. Like not just I want to help people. It's like how specifically, when, where, what's the client, like every single nuanced bit. Because when you tap into that, you become, the more specific you are, the more inspired you are to do the work. If it's general, you have a general behavior, general motivation. But the more specific, you become really and richly inspired by it. So I'm able to trigger that and get people back on track because they want to be that thing or do that thing. And so that's part of the measurement. And then the thing is, I challenge everyone to continue to grow, like constantly, not just like, let's work on this thing. How are you challenging yourself this week? We have like audacious goals every week. How are we stretching? How are we pushing? So even if you don't reach that goal, you're getting extraordinary results already. So by keeping them challenged, pushed, and then engaging consistently, it makes the accountability show up. And I find that typically when my clients struggle, it's not in falling back to old behaviors. It's in getting overwhelmed or frustrated on the path of executing the big goals they're going for, right? Because it's like, oh, I got rid of the blocks and the trauma, the belief that I wasn't good enough, or I couldn't do something. Now I've got this thing I'm building, this service, this offer for people that I'm excited about, but I'm stuck, or there's a wall, there's a block. And that's okay, because that's a breakthrough, right? Not a breakdown. And so that's where they usually hit, like, I'm trying to figure it out, I'm not getting there, I'm not seeing the results want. And that's where we go between driving for something and surrendering, which has become a really powerful part of my process in the past 5 years, is the surrender. Because people force all the time, right? Instead of being in a flow, like it didn't go the way I wanted it to be. I'm like, nothing does. Surrender. There's a lesson in there. It either goes the way you want or you learn something. Learn something or do something, but it's one or the other, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the kind of, I term that allowance and allowing and being in the flow. That sounds exactly
Yeah.
the same way. Excellent.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, right. We all get to it, right? It's all truth. Well, that's the nice thing about this stuff. When you get to it, doesn't matter what you call it. The behavior, the outcome is the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's surrendering, it's letting go, it's earning it and putting in the work, and then letting go and trusting that the work you did was the right work, and saying, no matter what happens, it's happening for me.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's my go-to. That's my go-to mantra. Even this is designed to serve me somehow.
Yeah.
Sometimes our vision, what we can see is we don't see the bigger picture, but there's a bigger picture. And so we have to trust that what's outside our peripheral vision is actually designed to move in our favor.
Yeah.
Yep.
It takes a lot of faith sometimes.
And be better than what we can actually anticipate in our
Exactly.
our reality. Yeah.
That's why I lean on. I go, listen, if everything went the way you wanted it to, it'd mean you already knew everything. And how limiting would that be? I'm like, by things not going the way you want, it means there's things you don't know yet. And there could be something bigger, and there will be something bigger and better. But I don't want everything to go the way I want, because then it's gonna fit in a box and have a bow, and it's gonna be everything I already expect. I want it to surprise me and rock me and grow me and shape me. Otherwise, there's no reason in struggling, right? Go to the gym and get on a treadmill and go 1 mile an hour every day. It's like,
Ooh,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So when you're working with somebody to create that version, that best version of themselves, is that a visualization that you're working them through?
Yeah, it's actually it's a couple part process. So the first part, there's 2 parts basically. There is the vision. I call it the ideal you. And so we figure out what the ideal version of you is in each area of your life, from your career to your relationship, etc. So what's the ideal, exactly how it has to be? So we understand the highest priorities, the most fulfilling things, what to look out for in pitfalls. So that's the vision. And then we do a peak performance training, which is daily routine. How do you show up each day to make sure you're progressing on that journey the way you want? Because if you're not the right person, you're going off on a branch instead of the trunk, and you're way off here and you're taking your journey the wrong direction. You may never get there. So doing practices daily, some are things that everybody should do, like meditation, reading, exercising, things that we all do for our peak performance. But then there's some things that are unique to each person, depending on what their passion is or their path. So we show up each day and work on that routine to refine you so that the journey getting to where you're going to that vision is actually enjoyable and prosperous.
Interesting.
Right.
How do you create a new routine when somebody's like a busy executive and has kids and has carpool and has work and has employees and has all these things, like, trying to create a new routine and
Mhm.
break up the demands of the day. How does one even go about that?
Yeah, fantastic question. This is like the resistance I usually get at the beginning because I do a lot of really good questioning where I have people answer their own questions at the beginning, right? Because I'll ask them, why are you here? And they're like, oh, I'm so unhappy with my life and my relationship and I'm stuck and I'm not making the progress I want. And I'm like, well, if you don't do this, what are you gonna do? Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I can't go on like this anymore. So I'm like,
Right.
great, we're gonna start building a daily routine. I can't do that. I'm like, let's go back to what you just told me.
Right.
So you can do it because why would you keep running the routine you're doing when you're so unhappy with your life right now? So stop making excuses. Let's have some reality check. You are completely emotional, stressed out, and overwhelmed and don't want to live your life. You can change everything. So that's where we start. And then what I say is, I'm like, look, give me 7 to 14 days. I'm going to teach you a process that I want you to commit to. And just be honest, like tell me what's going on, good, bad, and ugly, but I want you to commit to it. And I guarantee what I'm giving you is going to simplify your life. It's going to make it more efficient. You're going to see that it's not cumbersome. The things are going to quickly go, I got my time back. I have my mind back. I'm patient. I'm no longer triggered. I'm emotionally intelligent now. And so very rapidly they start sleeping better and feeling. But the first thing that happens is they feel a shift, but in the first 24 to 48 hours, people around them go, what's going on with you? Like you're calmer, you're happier, you're not triggered by the thing, and then it reinforces it. So within the first week, everybody starts buying in. Doesn't mean it's always easy to execute consistently, but
Mhm.
they quickly buy in and go, "Oh my gosh, I did this for 3 days, and I feel better than I felt in 10 years." And they're like, "I want to do this." And then they're like, then it's just kind of struggling. How do I move the blocks of my life around and make this a consistent thing? But once you get a taste of the medicine and start doing it, you start to realize like, wow, holding your morning routine sacred and taking time for yourself, just like putting the mask on. When you do that, you come out in the world a better person. And so you don't make mistakes and collateral damage. You have more time in your day. You listen to other people. You build relationships, not destroy them. You build bridges, not burn them. And so it's a consistent process of going like, wow, I'm refining my life and I'm leveling up when I have not felt like this in months or years. And so that's kind of the process, is getting somebody quickly into that routine, or the
Okay.
mindset at least.
Breath work. What does that look like? We
Have
all breathe. What- What's the
you guys done
difference?
it before? Have you done it all?
No, I mean, I breathe when I'm meditating, but I don't think that we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, it's incredible. And it's so funny. It's so trendy right now. So that some people have no idea about it. Some people have the wrong idea about it. But I will tell you, it's probably one of the most powerful tools I've ever used. And reason being is if you think about it, it's a God-given gift. It's part of us, right?
Right.
So, but the thing is, like, most people misunderstand what it is and misunderstand breathing. Like, so here's something to kind of educate anybody listening, because this is really powerful. So most of us, what we think I'm stressed and overwhelmed, so I'm breathing heavy, or I'm breathing shallow because I'm so stressed. And that's not true. Your breath, they've actually proven scientifically, tells your mind how to think. So it's the reverse. So how you breathe activates your mind. If there's millions of receptors in your lungs, and the pace of breath, the quality of the breath, the tone of the breath, the rhythm of the breath, all send signals like Morse code to your brain and say, this is how you should think. Like if you were standing on a street, getting ready to walk across the street, and you went to step out and a car went by and almost hit you, the first thing we do is we go, oh, you gasp.
Hmm.
When you gasp, I just did that right now, you get a rush that hits your body and it tells your mind, it clicks on the sympathetic, goes fight or flight. And you instantly go, adrenaline and cortisol hit your body, the hormones, and tell you to start doing something, behave, there's danger coming, fight or flight. So what happens is your breath is telling your brain how to think. So when we start to understand, like, wow, so I've got a lot of anxiety, I have a lot of depression, I've got a lot of emotional trauma that's stressing me out and keeping me from being my best or sleeping or whatever I need to do, I can take my breath and start to regulate that. My breath can start to control it, because people think I got to figure out up here what it is. If I don't figure it out with my mind and rationalize and get a hold of it and solve this problem, I can't fix it. And that's not true. That's what's so powerful about breath work. It doesn't matter what's going on up here. When you do the breath work and the process, like I take people through, doesn't matter what you think. You could say this is never going to work. You sit down, guess what? It worked. You can't stop it. It's your body working. And so the breath changes, and different types of breath reset that fight or flight mechanism. So as humans, unfortunately, when we have it on, when we click it on, it doesn't go off until we do certain things. Time has to pass. We have to do yoga. We have to sleep. We have to do breath work. Otherwise, we don't turn off that anxiety, that fight or flight. It comes down and stops the adrenaline and cortisol from flushing through our bodies. That's what kills us. That's the stress hormone, right? And so when you can turn that off, not only you make yourself healthier, but your mind clears and you become a different person. So you're able to regulate your stress. You're able to turn off that fight or flight. And then what happens is when you start to understand the other types of breath that we do as we start in one place and move to another, you start to activate your mind in certain ways where you clear things out. You clear out trauma. You literally remove the toxins from your body and reset yourself. And then your mind taps into you tap into like your pineal gland. You have DMT drop, and you start to have your mind starts to become ultra creative where you've been blocked and maybe felt depressed. People do a 1-hour journey with me and tell me, I've had anxiety my entire life and it's gone. I've had PTSD my whole life. I don't feel like this anymore. People that do addiction stop doing drugs. People say, one of my clients hadn't cried in 3 years after her mom passed, cried and just cried. She's like, I let it go. I saw her. I was able to actually talk to her. And you get so clear, you get past the emotional blocks to where that's gone. And then you're able to do the work you need to do. Because a lot of times people would come to me in the past and we'd have to work a month or 2 or 3 to get through the therapy part, through the pain, to get you clear. So then we could start building. But with breath work, it's an hour, bam, that's gone. You're like, I don't feel that anymore. I'm not thinking the same way anymore. Like, cool, let's get to work. Now let's build something you want. Let's do all the work to create who you want to be instead of sitting and talking about the pain. And so there's different techniques, but I take people through these breathwork journeys that are like an hour to an hour and a half. They're curated with very specific music, different frequencies. So if we're doing something for somebody that maybe has a heartbreak, doing something for grief, if someone's lost someone, if we're trying to be creative and activate a mindset to be able to go out and build a business or figure out the next chapter of your life, we activate certain chakras and certain frequencies. And then the music also guides you on a journey while I'm actually guiding you through certain things. And I was the same way. I'm like, I breathe all the time. Like I've been an athlete, I'm breathing, I've done meditation for 15 years. I was like, what's breathing? And then you realize there's different techniques. I didn't even realize this. As much breath as I do, the longer you exhale, when you exhale longer than inhale, you relax your body. Most people don't even know that.
Huh.
Like if you inhale and then do a long exhale, your body relaxes. And if you reverse it, you do short exhale and a long inhale, you activate your body. Most people have no idea that even happens.
I didn't know that. Do you know that?
Yeah, I
Oh,
actually
of
did.
course you did. Of course he knew that.
Yeah, you know that.
Fascinating. So is that retreat, that's an on-site, like that's a Vegas thing somebody has to travel to participate in?
No, that's a
Okay.
great thing. So I actually run free breathwork journeys every Tuesday night online. So people can show up and do an hour-long journey. And then afterward, I do a Q&A and help them integrate and process and answer questions. That's to give people, I just want people to know how powerful this is because you can change your life so quickly. But then I do have in-person retreats. Like I have one coming on Easter Sunday, March 31st, called Breath House, which is going to be absolutely incredible. And we're broadcasting it live online. So you can watch it through Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. It'll be broadcast everywhere. But it's also an in-person event. So you can come as a person, the general admission that shows up at the event that day, and just does the whole 9 hours with us, or you can also do a VIP ticket and you can do a month of coaching with me, which gives us a runway to that experience. So we actually go through a lot of the other things we talked about, accountability, the vision, building that passion, the ideal you, figuring out your daily routine. Then you come to the breath work, you're going to be skyrocketed. If you show up and just do the event, it's incredible as well. But if you have a month of coaching leading up there, you're just further on the journey.
Wow, nice. Okay, cool. I definitely want to make sure that everybody has the links and everything for that. But before we go there, I do want to talk about neuro-linguistic programming.
Good job.
Tell us about that. How does that work?
That's, I would say NLP and breath work are probably my most powerful tools in my tool belt. The great thing about NLP, the mantra for it is modeling excellence. So to put it really simple, what it is understanding the mind-body connection through communication. And so you're able to take any thought pattern or any behavior that you do or someone else does and reverse engineer it, break it down into steps so that you can either one, model it like, oh, you're doing this thing, I want to learn how to do this. Like I want to learn how to have that discipline or that routine, or you're able to say, I need to break this bad habit. I'm a smoker, or I'm anxious, or whatever my pattern is that I do, like compulsive buyer, and you can dissect it. by breaking down what happens first. Well, first I see something externally, and then it triggers something internally. I see a picture of myself wearing that thing, and then I get a feeling of this. And so you're able to figure out the steps, and then you can move them. You reprogram it, reprogram your mind through a pattern of like methods that you do and like techniques. And so it's super powerful because I love coaching, but a lot of things are esoteric. A lot of things are, it's not tangible. You can't grab them, like hypnotherapy and stuff. You're cheerleading and making somebody feel good, and you're talking to them and suggesting things, but there's no structure. But with NLP, it's all structured. It's like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So when somebody sees it, it's like giving somebody an instruction manual. And it's not like, what are you doing? I'm like, here it is. We're doing these 6 steps. And if you have a problem, I can tell you, oh, you're stuck on step 2. Let's work on step 2. It's a very easy set of instructions. So anybody can go through and learn these things and just repeat the pattern. So it's very powerful. It gives you an actual framework.
Somebody wanted to be Oprah, you could dissect that and reprogram somebody to be the next Oprah.
A lot of dissecting. That's a powerful woman, but yes, you absolutely can. I've done that. There's many techniques. I've taken stuff from JFK, like gone back and figured out how his orator and his ability to speak. Abraham Lincoln, Jimmy Stewart, Albert Einstein. There's different people. I've taken patterns and things they've done, and Einstein's mind palace, how he went and did his mind palace, and Tesla, their mind palace, figuring out what they did to activate and go into those states of higher consciousness. And so I've actually just taken people, alive or dead, different people, and like kind of reverse engineered what they do and figured out how I could take that pattern and put it into my life, or what maybe was missing in my pattern that was not getting me the extraordinary results.
That's really fascinating. I might have to sign up for that one.
Tap into that one there.
Yeah.
Brett. Yeah.
It changed my life. When I went originally, this was going back a long time ago, early 2000s. I was consulting some companies, insurance companies, mortgage companies, finance companies, going in and getting great results. I'd go in and work. I was always about the person rather than the product, right? So I'd go in, I didn't care if it was 1,000 employees or 10. Doesn't even matter what the product is. I'm like, why are you here? And I'd find out why they were here, and I would motivate them and then have them do the same thing with their clients or talking on the phone, like helping people understand it. Get out of the way. It's about the people, the relationship and your communication. But I would leave and the results would dip. And I was like, what's going on? I would like, when I'm there, it's up, and I leave, it goes down. I was like, that doesn't sit well with me. So I actually looked up how to duplicate myself, and that came up with NLP. I was like, interesting. So I went to NLP originally for my practitioner training to become a better sales trainer, which is really funny. And I was building call centers and sales teams. And after the second day of the training, I was like, it blew my mind. And I was like, the power of belief I never understood before, the power of what we have inside. I was thinking, again, in a limited box, how can I do what I'm doing better? And they were like, this is like a piece of a puzzle. There's a billion pieces. Look at all you can do. And I was like, wow. And then I was like, imagine how I could help somebody now, because it's not about going in and helping them do their job better. It's how do you live better? How do you dream bigger? How do you excel?
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a question?
No.
No questions? Okay.
Yeah. I think
so you do have a question. You do have something. You have something.
Maybe a statement.
Okay.
A statement. It just sounds like getting into it would be so far in depth for the degree of things that, the billion things, like you say. How do you keep it in a manageable size component? Because thinking like Einstein or thinking like Oprah or whoever, those individuals, that entire complicated breakdown must be just enormous.
Yeah, the scope. Well, the easy answer is that I always start with the person's passions, so that we make sure everything we're doing is filling one of those top 5 passion buckets. Because if it's not filling the passion, there's no reason for us to be doing it. Because sometimes we can get a shiny thing and go off somewhere, or we have a fear of limitation and believe we need to be doing something we don't. So I'm always like, how is this fulfilling your passions? How is this building momentum and taking you there? As long as they see the connectivity, they're like, okay, then this is something to explore, invest in. Then if they are interested and it's the right move, then what we do is we take it one step at a time. And it's like, what's the first thing you feel like you need to do? What's the first thing you need to learn, and the first thing you need to change and remove? And so we just take steps. And what happens is, as long as you stay on that path of the passion, the things present themselves that are supposed to in a really in a natural, unfolding, organic manner. And you don't end up typically going through everything that you could with somebody like on a profile like that. What you do is they think they need a bunch of stuff. You start doing one thing. When you do the right thing, it cracks everything open. It's like a vase, right? You can tap the vase, do a little crack, and the whole thing breaks. And so You start doing one or two things, and all of a sudden, boom, boom. And really what happens is it gives them the courage and the involvement in themselves, the enhancement, to where they become their own person, confident who they are, and they take a little bit of knowledge and wisdom, and they start shining on their own rather than trying to emulate someone else. It's kind of the light that shines in them, and then they shine their own light.
That's
Got it.
cool. I like
that's
that.
really cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Much more durable effect too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Yeah. What is one thing that you would like the listeners to know?
One thing I'd like them to know, you have the power to change your life. You know, I get it. Everybody comes from different places. And so I respect everyone for their position, their situation, the stress they're under. I empathize so much with people. The hardest thing is always really taking the first step, especially if you've lost hope or things haven't been going the right way for you. But have faith in the fact that you can dramatically change your life in a moment. And that is not me pitching something. You can do breath work for free. You can do meditation for free. That's why I give these things away for free, because I want everybody to go, oh my gosh, I just never thought I could change. Never thought I could get over this addiction, or feel good again, or feel like I could find love again. And you can do a 1-hour breath work journey and never think the same way again. And so that's why I say extraordinary is only a thought away. You're so close to where you want to be. It's just doing the work and knowing that regardless of it being a million steps in the journey, every step when it's the right direction becomes a blessing. It becomes momentum. So don't worry about 1 million, worry about one. And one will be incredible. And one will inspire you to do two, and two will take you to the third step. So you have so much more power and ability and hope than you ever could imagine.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
And
great stuff.
where can everybody find more about you?
Great. Yeah, a couple of places. So if you look up my name, easiest thing, just look up Brett Baughman. My website's brettbaughman.com. Also, my retreats are called Action Mastery. So you can search that with my name, or just search them and find that everywhere. And like I said, we're doing the Breath House event at the end of March. So that's Breath House created by Action Mastery. Easy to find them everywhere. The website's just breath-house. But something about that event that's cool, for people to know is it's very specifically designed. Like sometimes you go to events, they're all great, but some of them are just kind of designed for you to have an experience. This is designed for real transformation. It's very meticulously crafted. We go through group coaching for the mindset. We do body work to work and move through things in your body. We do sound healing and frequency work to loosen things up. And these are all modalities that whether you want them, whatever you think about them or not, they're going to work on you, which is great, right? They do the work for you. The breath work does the work. And then we do the celebration with deep house music. And it's so nice because it's such a reset for your body. It's so healing. You come out of this feeling like a brand new person. So whether people get to join online because they're, around the world, or in person, I'd love anybody to join us for that. It's the real pinnacle of my work. And I'm super excited to start sharing it with everybody that way.
Sounds amazing.
Cool.
And that they need to register for that. They need to get tickets.
Yep.
Even,
you can just do that
even
on
if
my
they're
website.
Okay.
Yeah, on my website or at breathhouse.com. They're both connected. But
Okay.
anybody can obviously just contact me too, and we'll be happy to get them any information they'd like.
Awesome. Well, Brett, thank you so much. I learned a lot.
Great stuff. Great
I learned,
stuff.
and now I'm interested in things I never knew I'd be interested in.
Yay, that's the goal. That's why I want, right? Making the positive impact, like sharing things that work for us, sharing things that's the thing for me is like when I find something that works, I want other people to try. Like, man, this was so great for me. Here, try this. Great book, really quick. I'll tell you this too. If you haven't read it yet, Make No Small Plans. I read that book last year, changed my life. I've been giving it to everybody.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Make no small plans.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
really good. Every person I've given it to has been like, thank you. I just had a client I gave it to the other day. He called me today. I was like, this is incredible. I'm just fired up.
Really?
Love sharing resources that are, can provide you with value, but also it's enjoyable. It's I listen to audiobook and it's so well done. Just really
nice.
fulfilling.
Okay. Well, when I get off, I'm going to have to go to Amazon now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Again, thank you so much for your time. Listener, I hope you found this educational, informational, somewhat entertaining. And until next time.
Thanks for subscribing to Your Infinite Health. I'm Dr. Tripp.
And I'm LeNae. Until next time, feel it, look it, and live it.